So I think we're live.
It's like DVR.
Pretty much. Are we live? We're live. Hey everybody, how's it going? Marcos Villegas here, being joined with Anna Hulatan,
Yes.
special guest, MMA fighter, world champion boxer as well. Hey, you know who I ran into?
Who?
Cecilia Bracus.
Oh, she's here?
She was here the whole week.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
She's
awesome.
really cool girl. I didn't know she was undisputed. Like she holds like five.
How can you not know? She's been that way for a few years.
She 5 belts
All right.
at welterweight. You're not welterweight, are you? You're not welterweight.
Oh, hell no.
Right? You're what weight are you?
I'm like a pigeon compared to her.
Yeah. What weight were you in boxing?
122.
Oh wow, that's bantamweight, right?
Yeah, super bantam.
Super bantam. Okay, yeah.
So let me ask you this, because
we got 65 people. All right, yeah. I didn't think we were gonna get so many people. Hey guys, we're in Las Vegas right now. We're gonna go ahead and talk with Anna about just random stuff and the fight that just happened. And you were gonna ask me something.
Oh yeah. So since you saw Cecilia and you've seen Cyborg, size difference. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, you know, Cyborg's a lot bigger. A lot more muscular than Cecilia.
Wider, taller.
She's just more muscular than Cecilia. When I saw Cecilia, I was kind of, she's solid, but I was surprised that she wasn't more muscular for 147.
So this is interesting, right? Because the MMA fighter's build is way different than a boxer's build.
Well, Cecilia probably hits harder because she's been training in boxing for so long.
Oh, 100%. The technique has to be different.
But looking at them like physically, Cyborg's a lot bigger than Cecilia.
Okay, and you've seen Clarissa Shields.
In person, Clarissa's a big girl. Like
compared to Cyborg?
Yeah. She's bigger legs, bigger shoulder. Nah, I don't know about shoulders. Definitely bigger legs. I think she's just a thicker build because she's 2 weight classes above Chris.
Yeah, no, 100%. I was just curious just to see, just to get to hear.
Yeah, she's a lot bigger. I saw that. What did you think about this one? I thought Cyborg did well. She got hit with the punches, but she was holding her own.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I think sparring, it's a great tool to get prepared for a fight. Yeah. It's not a real fight. It's stuff that you can, get out of your comfort zone a little bit and try new stuff. You're a little bit more protected. You have the gear and stuff like that, and you're a lot more aggressive, mainly because you have the protection, so you're more inclined to try more stuff. But I think it's great that you're having both women get together and actually get some work, try to feed off of each other, and hopefully create a hybrid of a new form of boxing or a new form of MMA.
What do you make of the Holly Holm Cyborg fight?
I like that fight. It's a great fight.
It's I'm telling people, I think that's the perfect style matchup for Holly, because Chris comes forward in a straight line and she doesn't use a lot of lateral movement. I
agree.
And Holly is just gonna try to move around and just pop shot her.
I agree.
She has good odds on her too. I think
Holly does?
Yeah.
I thought she was an underdog.
She is the underdog. She has good odds on her. Yeah, good odds. I think Holly's like a 3-1 underdog.
It's a great bet.
It is a great bet because I can
place it right now. I could
honestly see. I'm telling you guys right now. You know what? I'll probably go on to make my official pick that Holly will win that fight, but I could see Holly winning that fight.
I think it's
because I think it's very similar to the Ronda fight, because Ronda just bull rushed forward, and Cyborg's gonna bull rush, I think, too. That's how she fights.
I kind of give Cyborg a little more credit than that. I think she'll know how to pace it a little bit more since she got that experience with
she will.
Clarissa.
That for us.
So she'll understand the lineup a little bit, but it'll be interesting to see her fight against a southpaw.
Yeah.
And again, I think what's hard about MMA is that you do have 5-minute rounds. So if you're coming up boxing pace, for instance, or striking pace, and it's fast and it's intense, and if you don't stop your opponent and let's say the 3-minute mark passes, you better understand how to pace yourself, because that's when you'll get caught. Let
me ask you this.
Yeah.
So you fought an MMA fight, you fought boxing fights, and this tripped me out because I would have imagined Conor, when he fought Mayweather, to not gas out after the 4th round, because I thought, well, he's used to fighting 5-minute rounds at 25 minutes. That's a grueling pace. Like cardiovascularly, he should be in really good shape to be able to go 12 rounds. But he gassed after the 4th round. 3-minute rounds are shorter than MMA rounds. So I guess what's the difference there? Why did he gas when he's used to fighting 5-minute rounds, and it seems that it's a much more grueling pace than boxing? Or is it not a much more grueling pace than boxing?
In my opinion, I think they're just 2 completely different sports.
Yeah. Are you doing more in boxing than MMA?
Well, for one, I think it's more of a sprinter's pace. You gotta get going. You
For
gotta throw
what?
those
For
punches.
MMA?
No, for boxing,
For
it's
boxing.
3 minutes. It's like
Yeah.
a sprint, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a sprint too in MMA. The different factor is you have an extra 2 minutes, and you only have a 1 minute break. Versus like in a boxing match, you have 3 minute rounds. Let's say 2 rounds will equate to 1 MMA round. You'll still have like 2 minutes of break within that 6 minute period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have to understand how to manage yourself and put yourself in positions where you can utilize your footwork or things like that. But yeah, it's different. Boxing, in my opinion, is a very, very fast pace, mainly because you know exactly what you're going to be doing. You'll be focusing on the hands, you'll be focusing on the footwork. You don't have to worry about the kicks, you don't have to worry about the ground and stuff like that, which, by the way, kicks and grappling all have a different pace in itself altogether.
Oh, yeah.
So just to combine all of that with a boxing pace, I mean, come on. I mean, just think about that a little bit. If you were to just write it out on paper and not even actually do it, they're completely different. So for me, I got excited when that fight happened, believe me, because I'm so tired of hearing people say, oh, boxing is so much easier, or boxing is so limited, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it's limited compared to what? And you have to understand the whole spectrum of it. You got to look at the good points, you got to look at the bad points, you got to know exactly what, you have to know your definition of boxing. So with that fight, I'm glad it at least put some things out on the table where it was a little bit clearer. However, I still feel like people, especially some of the MMA fans, don't quite understand the difference yet, because that one huge knockout that happened between the two heavyweights, Ngannou versus what's the other guy?
Oh, freaking Overeem.
Yeah,
oh
Overeem.
My God.
So
that knockout was, I saw that and I thought that Overeem was dead. I thought his soul got disconnected from his body. Holy Jesus. That was a bad knockout. Oh, what was your reaction when you saw that?
I was like, wow, this is the magic behind MMA.
I was just like, fuck, like that's gonna hurt the next day.
So here's my thing with it. One of my good friends, he works in the UFC, and he's a big boxing guy though. I mean, he's watched boxing since he was a kid. Yeah. So he'll go into the office and he'll start talking about, or people will start talking about the fight, and they would say Ngannou can knock out Anthony Joshua with that same uppercut. I'm like, are you kidding? In what world? In MMA, I can see that happening, but in boxing, it's like, can Ngannou jab for like 12
that's
rounds
the thing,
like Klitschko?
And I was telling Matt, I'm like, Stipe has pretty decent boxing. And Ngannou's really crazy with his punches, like extremely like wide loopy punches. He leaves his hands down, and I'm like, I think Stipe's gonna catch him because he's just a wild puncher. A lot of power, but he's just a very wild puncher in there. I want to go back to what you were talking about, like the boxing and the MMA part, because you've had both fights. Were you more exhausted after a boxing match or an MMA match?
I would say more of an MMA match, mainly because obviously my foundation is more in the striking department. My grappling doesn't go on the same level as my striking. Yeah. So with that said, I'll happily say that in MMA it's a little bit more different, mainly because my field of interest, or my field, is with the art of pugilism. Yeah. So, but I mean, it's something that happens in every fight, even in boxing matches. There are times where you'll actually get tired, even in a sparring match where you're all protected and stuff like that. It all depends on like the environment. So yeah. I mean, what do you think?
I've never had a pro boxing match. I've sparred in MMA and
you have a wrestling background.
Yeah, but that's the thing. When I wrestled, I never got tired. That's the thing. Like I was really like well conditioned. There was one time I got fucking exhausted where I collapsed after the match because this dude had like no takedown defense, and I just kept. But I could not keep him on the fucking ground. Like I would take him down, shoot double legs, single legs, fireman carries, and no problem taking him down. But he had very strong hips, and he was very squirmy, and I couldn't keep him on the ground. He'd keep popping back up, and I was like, Jesus Christ. I took him down like fucking 5 times in the span of like 2 minutes, and I was exhausted. I was exhausted. I collapsed. I won the match, and then I just like fell down, and like I had to like stop. Like I couldn't wrestle the rest of the. I was that fucking tired. So, but that's, you said it's a sprint. I'm like sprinting for like 3 minutes, like it's a It's a crazy fucking
That's
pace.
why wrestling is only for 2 minutes per period.
Yeah.
Now, can you imagine at the elite level of wrestling, like if you're asking a Jordan Burroughs to go into an MMA match and try to do pure wrestling, like Olympic style, like top level world class wrestling in an MMA match, he'd gas out.
He'd gas out.
You'd have to have different weapons.
Getting hit gasses you out too. That's the one thing you guys, most people don't understand is when you get hit with a punch, you could be like a super well-conditioned athlete, and yet if you're super well-conditioned and you get hit flush with a good punch, it's going to carry you through because you're very well-conditioned. But don't get it twisted too. Getting punched, getting hits really slows down your car. Like, it gets you tired. Like, it takes a lot of energy out of you.
Oh, 100%. It reminds me of, I was talking with this one lady, one of my good friends, Donald Foyle, retired NBA player. He has a lot of these different athletes that would go into his house. And there was this lady who went up for the Olympics for track. Mm-hmm. And she said one of the things that she absolutely hated when she would go for a race is whenever she would run and someone would pass by, or she passed by someone, they'd hit her, and she says it would burn so much. It would just take energy out. So no matter what sport you're in.
Imagine sprinting and you're getting elbowed here. Oh, man.
Elbow, knee.
You know what? Okay, so a lot of dirty shit happens in wrestling. Like, you get, no, for reals, you get thumbs in the butthole. Like, you get guys grabbing your balls. Like, you get a lot of, like, stuff. You experience that in MMA fights? Like, where they're, like, sticking hands where they're not supposed to be?
Not yet.
Yeah? Okay, that's good. All right.
And I hope
so I always wonder, like, the dirt, if, like, there's any dirty things that ever happen to you, like dirty tactics and stuff like that.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. One time I was sparring in jiu-jitsu, and I accidentally grabbed, another girl's breast. I didn't mean to do it, but I'm like, fuck, this is, like, weird, and it's all, like, different, but I'm like, I grabbed the wrong thing. I was trying to go for the arm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm sure stuff like that happens. And maybe
she have big breasts or something? Because you got the gi, it's usually, like, patted down.
I don't know. Maybe I was trying to think, okay, within a split second, I was going for a grab, but I was also thinking about a punch, so it could probably extend it a little forward more than often. It was just like a split second type of thing. This happened years ago, though. But yeah.
All right. So, obviously, your guys is tuning in because I titled it our reaction to this Vasily Lomachenko versus Guillermo Rigondeaux fight, and I'm going to go ahead and try to turn on the comments again. There we go. Jello. Hey, Jello. What's up, man? This is Anna Hulatan. She's a multi-world champion in boxing and in MMA. So everyone's like saying like, oh, hey, Anna. Someone said they take jiu-jitsu from her because they think you're pretty. All right. So this fight, I was extremely disappointed with the performance Rigondeaux put in. Yeah, I was telling Anna off camera, I was fucking pissed. Really pissed. I usually never bet. Usually never ever bet. This fight I did bet because I thought the odds were a little too off in terms of how the perception I had up until last night of the skill that Guillermo Rigondeaux would show in this fight. Thought it would be a back and forth fight. But I thought eventually Lomachenko would beat him because of the volume, the activity. I just didn't think Rigondeaux would throw enough punches to be able to get a decision over Lomachenko. And I didn't think the smaller guy would end up knocking out a bigger guy like him. But with that being said, when I saw the odds that it wouldn't go 12 rounds, would go 12 rounds, it was like plus 200, 300. I'm like, that's a good bet because there's no way in hell that this fight doesn't go 12 rounds. It's just both guys are going to be way too fucking technical, and it's going to go 12 rounds. Yeah, I got proved wrong once again that I don't know shit about boxing. So the one time I bet is the one time I'm wrong. Every other time I don't bet and I tell people to bet I'm right. And then this one time that I bet I'm wrong, the fight, I was disappointed. And I'm still shocked I'm shocked because, look, Rigondeaux is such a high-level boxer. The guy that's so high-level, to make him quit. I understand a guy like Nicholas Walters or any of these other guys where they don't have the pedigree that a Lomachenko has, or like the technicality that a Rigondeaux has. I understand that they're limited, and they realize because of their limitations they can't compete with a guy like Lomachenko. So they're forced to say, you know what? Screw it, I'm just not gonna fight anymore because I have no tool in the arsenal to change the playing field, to make it level. Like, there's nothing I can do that I can beat this guy. So we were under the perception that Rigondeaux did have the tools to be able to level the playing field against a guy like Vasily Lomachenko. So for him to quit against Lomachenko, holy shit. He made an Olympian of that high level quit. I'm like I mentioned, I'm still just like, what the fuck? But what'd you think, Anna?
Okay. And this is what I love so much about boxing, is that everyone is so passionate about it. And I can't tell you how many times whenever I would sit down and, you know, talk to other people about fights, they would get the same reaction that you have. You're like, oh, you know, you just killed my heart. Oh, just crushed me. I'm heartbroken.
Killed my wallet, too.
Sounds like a really bad relationship, right?
I know, right? Sounds like some of my exes, huh?
But here I had to really sit down and just step back for a little bit, because I got caught up in the hype too. Yeah. Now on paper, Lomachenko is supposed to win. Bigger guy, younger guy, high pedigree, things like that, right? So
better amateur too. That's the one thing I told people. Lomachenko was a better amateur than Rigondeaux, because Rigondeaux lost like 12 times, and Lomachenko only lost once, and he avenged that loss 2 times. Yeah.
So with the matchup, you have these two guys. They have like these superhero-like, comic book-like resume.
Yeah.
This pedigree hasn't been done before, and they're gonna be stepping into the ring. We're like, oh my gosh! I mean, like for me, my heart, my fanism for boxing just came out, and I'm like, I want to be there. Oh my gosh! I'm like fangirling so hard, right? And because of that, we forget about all the different factors. Lomachenko being the bigger guy, Lomachenko being the younger guy, Lomachenko. It's not like Lomachenko is the bigger guy, younger guy with a small resume. He had all 3 factors going up for him. This fight was for Lomachenko to look good. Now, for Rigondeaux, for everyone being upset about Rigondeaux, and I understand, you know, with the whole heart and warrior mentality of a boxer, of a fighter, you have to go out of your shield and you have to be willing to die in there. In my opinion, I feel like Lomachenko does something a little bit different, because he's so passionate and he's such a phenomenal athlete in his respect, that he goes in there and it's almost like anyone who signs a contract to fight Lomachenko, they know exactly what they're going to go into, right? So it'd almost be like, hey, Marcos, I'm going to give you $1.1 million in front of the entire world on ESPN to walk down this floor that's filled with shattered glass, gasoline, and we're going to light it with fire, and I need you to walk an entire mile, because it's a championship fight, through it without flinching or giving up.
I'll do it. For $1 million, I'll do it.
So a lot of people will say they do it, but can it be done?
But when it comes down to the moment of truth, can it be done? So with that being said, with how the fight played out, were you surprised that he dominated him the way he did?
I'm not surprised. I mean, and it's hard because I see it with passion. Yeah. And I have to see it on the technical side too. And it's hard because sometimes it meshes and blushes in, you know, it blends in sometimes. And, you know, as that's happening, because when Rigo started holding on to...
he was holding a lot.
To Lomachenko, to me, that equates, okay, he's either doing it to get off Lomachenko's game, and when it wasn't, then that tells me Rigo needed time to think. He needed to figure something out. So there was this move where, and I thought Rigondeaux did this brilliantly. He showed us, or he reminded us how to fight like a small person, kind of like Sweepy. Ducking in, bending down over a little bit, kind of hard to see. And more times than not, in all of Rigondeaux's fight, he's able to get away with that. That gives him time to, instead of clinching, it gives him time to think or reset. Yeah. What did Lomachenko do? Jab, 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 jab. He just kept throwing punches.
Kept throwing punches, and even when he ducked down, he was like hitting him on the side, on like almost the top of the head, and like getting little sneaky shots in.
Yeah. Even to a point where, because Lomachenko, I don't think he's the type of guy that likes to color within the lines. He'll color within the lines and out the lines whenever the fuck he feels like it. You know, it's his style, it's his world. So that didn't fluster him. In fact, he started doing a couple of like martial art hits, like hammer fist.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
Mainly because Rigondeaux was doing these unorthodox moves. You know what I mean? And so with the size difference, with the age difference, and you can I starting to see Rigondeaux slowly break down. Yeah, you saw it. And after I think it was the 6th round, I was like, man, I hope his corner, I hope Rigondeaux's corner, Diaz, just stops the fight, because
you thought that,
I thought so, because and a lot of people will say, okay, he's not getting hurt. You know, these hits, if it adds up against someone who's in phenomenal shape, I mean, Lomachenko is such such great shape. I saw a video clip of him. He's in a tennis court. He's
swinging and he's running across.
He goes to the other side, hits the ball, and he's lobbing his own tennis match.
They reminded me of the WWF used to do these clips of Mr. Perfect.
Okay.
And Mr. Perfect would like throw a football down the field and he'd sprint and like catch the football. It was fake. He wasn't really doing it, but it reminded me of Mr. Perfect when he was doing that. But you're right, he was in phenomenal shape. And the other thing too, he's getting hit by a bigger guy.
Yes. Yeah. So whether you seeing it and feeling it are two completely different things, in my opinion. And for someone like Rigo, and I saw his head snapping back continuously, and I'm like, man, even though it looks like he's okay because he's standing, that is taking an effect. And like and then on paper, hindsight is 20/20, obviously, but that fight should have never happened. The commission shouldn't have allowed it, mainly because of the factor of, yes, this kid he has this big of a resume, he's that much bigger, he's that much younger. He has all three components, because usually there's a leverage point. Rigondeaux will fight someone who's younger and bigger, but he doesn't have the same experience. Or he'll fight someone with the same experience, except they're smaller and they're probably as old as he is. There wasn't an equal playing field. So at the end of the day, people will give shit towards Rigo, saying, oh, he shouldn't have quit. I disagree, because at the end of the day, this isn't the amateurs. You're not going for the Olympic gold. This is professional fighting. This is someone's career. People need to also remember that fighters, they don't have 401ks when they retire. So if you want to think about the longevity of Rigondeaux, whether he's going to say it or not, and I don't know him, I haven't spoken, this is my own opinion, and I'm thinking, well, when he's weighing the odds right at that moment, when he's feeling exposed and everyone's looking at him and he himself has to digest his own thoughts, that's what he needed to do. So with that credit, I'm like, man, you can't take away his 2 gold medals. You can't take away the fact that he is in a division where he doesn't have anyone else to fight. And that's the only offer he's getting where he can be featured on TV. And if Lomachenko is going to be the last guy that's going to retire him, I'd say that's probably the way to go for someone who, it was almost like him passing the torch.
That's a very interesting point there.
But in a sense, and if Rigondeaux, he'll complain, oh, it's my hand, and all this, whether it's true or not, you have to understand this guy is a king. In his mind, he's a king. In his mind, he's undefeated. So for him to actually, in front of the world, especially to the person who had him smell his own blood.
That's what trips me out, is for a guy, like he took his soul away from him. Like he broke his confidence. And like you mentioned, in his mind, he's like a king, For him to get taken from like there to like peasant, in a matter of 3 rounds, you could tell, by the 3rd round, Rick, he looked defeated already. He's like, what the fuck? What's happening here?
Yeah.
It's like he mentally broke down. I cannot believe this is happening to someone like me.
Yes.
Like me. This is actually happening, because he's had his whole career, he's always had his way with people, always embarrassed people. And then the one time he starts getting outclassed and embarrassed, and he's just like having a meltdown. I can't process this. I can't believe this is happening to me.
So instead of everyone pointing the finger at Rigondeaux, let's go ahead and give a little bit more credit to Lomachenko for what he's done.
Yeah.
Because Rigondeaux is, to me, in my opinion, he's still a phenomenal fighter. And for him to, because my boxing promoter, Alex Translate, Hall of Famer, he would say, right in the beginning when I started working with him, he goes, Anna, when you go into this sport, understand it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So you have to, it's your livelihood. So for Rigondeaux and Lomachenko to devote their entire lives and have the incredible resume that they've built and to want to keep going, that says a lot about their character. But to have that defining moment right at that time, I'm like, man, it's so easy for a lot of people to point fingers and not give you the credit and not give you the due diligence of you actually doing the job that you're supposed to do. And I felt like Rigondeaux did everything that he could with what he had at that moment.
Have you ever fought with a broken hand or an injury like that? How hard is it to go through a fight with a broken hand? That's my question.
I'm fortunate enough to not have to fight with a broken hand. I fought with a messed up knee.
Yeah.
No ligaments attached, stuff that I had to do surgically. And that's more, obviously it's going to put you in a certain position, but mentally you have to have the will to win. You have to have the will to walk the fire. You have to want to do it. It's either you have it or you don't. And it's hard sometimes, because in life, if you're lucky to live for a long time, you'll go back and forth with yourself. It's like, oh, you know, I'm in the best position that could be, and everything's going well for you. But in the most worst moments, you know, you're going to find out what kind of a person you are right at that time in your life, you know, with the choices that you make. So have I fought with a broken hand? No, but I fought with injuries. And yeah, you, in this sport, which takes everything out of you, you have to have that basic idea of you want to win. You have to have that winning mentality. So
yeah, I would imagine, you know, because I got to thinking, like, we saw Cotto in his fight.
Yes.
He fought with a ripped bicep, 5 more rounds after that. And then, you know, you hear stories of, like, how Paulie Malignaggi fought Cotto with a broken jaw.
Yeah.
Or Arthur Abraham fighting with a broken jaw. And, you know, it gets a lot of people thinking.
Or DeGale fighting with a you
know. Or Margarito fighting with a broken eyeball and stuff like that, you know, and it gets people.
Gotti,
yeah,
right?
And fans, you guys are like, well, how is it that these guys are able to? Like, I can't imagine finishing a fight with a broken jaw, because in boxing, whether you like it or not, you're gonna get hit.
Yes.
You're gonna get hit.
Yes.
Even if you're the most defensive guy in the world, you're gonna get hit.
Yes.
And your jaw is broke. Like, I can't imagine how someone could finish a fight with a broken jaw. And I'm like, man, like, he has another hand. He loses his power hand, his right hand, but he still has his jab, his hook, his uppers, you know. But I don't know, it just gets me thinking, like, how he couldn't finish the fight, you know. I don't know. What do you think?
For Rigo, I think
he was already beat, huh?
I think
his spirit was already broken.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion,
I would have never in a million years I would have thought he would have quit in that fight, because he talks so much on Twitter. So much crap on Twitter.
You have to. How many people were there at Madison Square Garden? Only 5.
They sold it out.
5,000. Yes, sold
it
out.
It was small.
Yeah,
the small
at a capacity of 5,000 people. How many pay-per-view buys did Floyd Mayweather and that MMA fighter get?
Conor, like 4.3 million.
Now, again, their pedigrees are completely different. And you know, well, Floyd is way up there, and Conor, he's able to have the mass public just want to tune into whatever the fuck he does.
Yeah.
That has a lot of money versus the Rigondeaux Lomachenko fight, man. I'm like, damn. With the comic book like superhero like stats, you know, that's what it came out to. You know.
I felt bad for Rigo with his purse. Well, now I don't feel bad. I'll tell you why. I felt when they announced the purses, Lomachenko made like 1.2 million, and then I saw Rigondeaux 400K, and I was like, come on, man, don't do this guy dirty like that. Like, you know, he deserves more money than that, you know. After that, I'm like, okay, it's the purse.
Oh, this fight really got you good.
It did.
This is what I love about combat sports. It connects you to a point where you're willing to dish out your money, because of your emotion.
I knew the fight was going to be boring. I knew that. I knew it was going to be a very boring tactical fight. But I just thought he would do more. I would never have imagined he would be that dominated, because I was under the perception that these guys were equals, that they were equals. It was the immovable object.
You can't be equal if you're 2 weight classes under and you're older. You can't.
But even Lomachenko said that the weight wasn't that big of a factor, but it was. And I asked him after the thing too. I asked him, if you beat this guy, do you consider yourself pound for pound the best? And he's like, no. And I'm like, why not? This guy's like on the pound for pound list. Many consider him to be one of the pound for pound guys. He's like, because he said people are gonna give me shit about this fight when I beat him. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, because the dude's a smaller guy. They're gonna be like, you beat a smaller guy. They're not gonna give me credit. I think people are gonna give him credit for just completely outclassing him, not only a double gold medalist, but a Cuban double gold medalist, because Cubans are such elite level boxers, you know. But at the end of the day, the size did make the difference. They weren't equal, because of the size.
Now, this is where I feel like it's going to be tough for Lomachenko. Where does he go next? I mean, if he's only making $1 million off of a fight of this caliber, how much more does he need to reach up in order for him to start making the 10 million or 5 million?
I'm going to ask you guys this. So, her coach mentioned it to us that, well, what do you think about Lomachenko against Manny Pacquiao? And initially I was like, that's a tough cut for Manny, but then like, oh no, not really, because Manny comes in light. But Would you guys like to see a Pacquiao-Lomachenko fight? Would that interest you guys? Would it interest you?
I think so, mainly because it's Manny Pacquiao. How can you not want to watch Manny Pacquiao? I mean, there's so many great memories behind that guy. You see him go up, you see him go down, you see him go back up.
Look, people are saying yes. See? Pacquiao KOs Lomachenko.
Oh.
Yeah. Lomachenko has to move up for super fights. So there's interest there. No, not now. Hell yeah, change weight. No, yes. 140 Crawford.
Yeah, that's
he
a great
beats
fight.
Manny Sewell. Hell yes. No. So it seems like 50-50. I don't know, because it's like I keep asking myself this: would Lomachenko completely embarrass and outclass Manny Pacquiao? And it's like a situation that he found himself with Rigondeaux. Lomachenko is going to be the smaller guy against Manny Pacquiao. He still has a Manny Pacquiao in there that has really fast hands, really fast feet. Though he is old, he's not going to be as active as Lomachenko. Probably hits harder than Lomachenko. Is used to being hit by bigger guys than Lomachenko. You know what? It would be a compelling stylistically fight because Manny's going to come forward and Lomachenko's going to come forward. Thing is Lomachenko's footwork, activity, going to be in his movement be too much for Manny, where Manny won't be able to really hit him more than 1 or 2 times, you know?
Okay, is it an ESPN fight or a pay-per-view fight?
I don't know. Would you guys pay $70 for Pacquiao Lomachenko at 140 pounds? Because I think that's the only way that they could it would be fair, I guess, to meet in the middle. Because Lomachenko rehydrated up to 138 for this Rigondeaux fight, so that's 2 pounds away from a fight if it was at 140. So people are saying no, they would not pay. Well, yeah, we're getting some yes. $70 for a Pacquiao Lomachenko fight on pay-per-view. I would pay for the fight. I'd be honest. I would be interested to see. Part of me would want to see if by chance, if I could just see the old Manny for like a round or two show up against Lomachenko. Honestly, I'm very not partial, but like you mentioned, I have this like idealistic picture of a prime Manny. How he was just murdering people in there, you know? And I always like to think back to that Manny, and I'm like, how would a prime Manny do against Lomachenko? And I like to say, like, a prime Manny would freaking demolish him. But I think when it comes to Lomachenko, we're dealing with a guy he's special. He's a special fighter.
Yeah, he's a different style.
He's a special guy. Look who it is. We got Dave Avila here.
I know.
Look at that, Anna.
Good to see you.
We're live right now, actually, guys.
How are you? Nice to meet you, Anna.
We're talking about the fights, actually. We got some buddies that just stopped in with us right now. If you guys want to say hello, this is Dave Avila. Al, what's up? How's it going? We're just here recapping. Well, I'll ask you, would you pay $70 to see Lomachenko and Pacquiao?
I think so.
Wait, is that an interesting fight for you, Lomachenko Pacquiao?
I'd rather see that than Conor McGregor.
Yeah? What about instead of Mikey Garcia?
Well, I'd rather see Mikey Garcia.
Yeah?
Yeah.
If Manny and Lomachenko fight, what weight is fair?
Oh, that's a good point.
What do you think?
140, I guess.
Right? That's what we're all thinking, is 140 would
140.
probably be, yeah.
Yeah, because then, I mean, Manny's already his upper 30s, and to make him suffer at a weight loss is too much.
Yeah, right?
I mean, 140 is about it.
140 should be fair.
Lomachenko's younger.
Unless they tell him to go to 137, which I don't think Freddie would let him get away with that.
Yeah, I don't think he would either.
Yeah.
Freddie wouldn't do that.
Yeah. So
No.
there's interest though. You guys are saying half of you guys are saying yes, you would like to see Lomachenko and Pacquiao, and the other half of you are saying no, which means that there's interest in the fight. And I wouldn't be surprised because that's an in-house fight.
Yeah.
It's an in-house fight. Mikey's not an top-ranked guy.
No, he's a free agent.
Yeah,
right?
They make more money with Lomachenko and Manny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So many different factors.
I know,
so many
right?
moving parts, right?
I'm tired, guys. I need more coffee.
Well, let you guys go.
Okay, bye.
Take it easy, guys.
Nice meeting you.
All right. So, for you guys just tuning in or have been tuning in and you're wondering who this is, Anna Hulatan, multi-divisional champion in boxing, fights for Bellator MMA. What's going on with Bellator?
You know, it's in the works right now.
Yep.
Like we were just saying earlier about the business parts of it, there's a lot of moving things going on. So in order for something to work, everything has to align. So we're obviously trying to hype up a fight between me and Heather Hardy. We have the same stories. You know, I did boxing, she did boxing. Both jump into the cage and we fight for the same organization. I think it's a fight that needs to happen. It only makes sense. Women's MMA and women's boxing is still far behind combat sports, and so I mean we're still talking about including more divisions in women's MMA. You know what I mean? 125, which I've been fighting for in boxing, or 122 for my entire career.
Jello just said, please don't get kicked in the face, which he's referring to the Heather Hardy fight.
Oh my gosh,
that was crazy.
Yeah.
The broken nose.
That was exciting, wasn't it?
I've never seen her take as much damage ever, than she has in her MMA fights.
Yeah.
She's taken a lot of punishment in those MMA fights.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know.
I've never seen her ass bloody or messed up, like ever. How surprised were you?
I mean, you know, MMA altogether as a sport is just a big surprise. You just don't know what you're gonna get. You know, sometimes grapplers go in there and they try to knock someone out. Dan Hendo is a perfect example. And sometimes strikers go in there and they try to like submit people. So it depends on like what you get. And so all I have to say is your fight IQ needs to be up there. And so as a boxer myself, and I appreciate it, I love the sport, I love the sweet science. You can't just go into MMA with just the sweet science. I can't. The boxing lines, there's a lot of, you know, amazing advantages that can be done and utilized, mainly because a lot of people don't understand it. But there's also a lot of advantages between the kicking lines, a lot of advantages between the knee lines and the elbow lines and the takedown lines. There's so many different factors to it. So when I talk about fight IQ, it needs to be up there. Now, the difference is in boxing, to be at the high of the high, your fight IQ and your athleticism needs to be skyrocketed. Versus in MMA, you can be mediocre at all of them, just as long as you know a little bit of everything. More times than not, you tend to do well. Yeah. Versus if you had,
it's more ways to win.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So with that,
and even with that, you could be the best MMA fighter in the world, and because of that, because there's so many ways to win, the puncher's chance notion in MMA is a lot more probable than in a boxing fight.
100%. Yeah. You have grappler gloves. They're not even boxing gloves. They're 4-ounce gloves. So even if you throw a terrible right cross, I mean something that you would never do in a professional boxing match, and if you catch the other person, the person may end up going down because of the explosiveness, and it could be the most ugliest punch ever. Versus in boxing, how many times have you seen someone take the other person's best punch, and if they didn't put them away, how many times did that other person who took the shot came back to win the fight?
Oh, to win the fight?
Yeah.
I gotta think. Do you remember a fight where like the guy was getting his ass kicked and he came back and he kicked the other guy's ass?
All I could think of is Arturo Gotti.
Gotti would do that at times.
Diego Corrales versus
Castillo. Yeah, that's right.
Got dropped?
Got twice.
Twice in the
ninth. Yeah, and then he came back and he knocked him out.
Knocked him out in 10th.
Yeah, that's right.
There's so many different things that happens. You know, Melchick Taylor versus Chavez.
Oh yeah. But Chavez was breaking him down. You could tell he was landing the harder punches.
Oh no, I know. Yeah.
You could tell. I just had a fight. You know who would always get his ass kicked early but come back and beat the guy was Marquez. Early Marquez. He would always get dropped. You could always bank on a Marquez fight that he would get knocked down, but then he would kick your ass.
He'll figure you out.
Yeah, after you knocked him down and stuff. And that's why I always liked watching Marquez, like that Katsidas fight. That Katsidas fight made me like jump and scream like, "Oh my God, he's done!" And then kicks the crap out of him. Or like the Diaz fight, where he did some weird thing where like he feinted a straight, or no, he feinted an upper. He came with the straight, and then he went with an upper. And I was like, "Oh my God, that's the most beautifulest thing I've ever seen." Like it was a crazy like feint combination. I was like, "Man, this is why you're a grand master when it comes to this stuff." Marcus was just a treat to watch.
Well, 100%. I mean, we were fortunate enough to actually have a lot of phenomenal boxers and athletes in the sport where they can show us and give us these great experiences. You know what I mean? Well, one fight I should have mentioned was remember when Pacquiao first came out and people couldn't pronounce his last name.
Pacquiao. Yeah, they say that Manny Pacquiao.
And he fought Antonio Barrera.
Yeah, the first one. Yeah. So I remember that because Oscar spent like $1 million or something signing Barrera, I think. and that was like
Money
his
well
first.
spent.
Well, yeah, but it was his first major signing for Golden Boy. That was when Golden Boy had local guys, and then he spent a lot of money to sign Barrera, and this was supposed to be like Barrera's highlight fight. It was supposed to make him look good. Manny kicked the shit out of him.
But Manny gets dropped in the first round. It was called a knockdown.
Yeah, I remember that. But Manny kicked the shit out of him after that. Yeah. Oh man, I missed old Manny. I really do. Old Manny was a treat to watch, man. That was lightning in a bottle. You're not gonna see a guy like Manny in a really, really, really long time. Like he was, he met his match in Floyd. Even though I think prime Manny, if they would have waited just 2 years to make that fight, I think it would have been a different fight. And I think Manny had a great chance of beating Floyd when he was in his prime. I'm not saying he would have beaten him, but he had a really good chance back when he was in his prime, when the fight should have happened. But you're not going to see a guy like that ever again.
When the fight should have happened, would it have made that much money back then than it did recently? That's the thing. See, I think this is the fact that a lot of people...
I think it would have, though.
I think
because I think when people started finally mentioning them two, I think if they would have made the fight, all the networks that did jump on to the fight would have jumped on, and I think the hype train would have happened.
At that time, Pacquiao didn't have a pistachio commercial.
And he wasn't singing on Jimmy Kimmel, right? Sometimes when we touch...
And Drake wasn't making fun of Pacquiao singing.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a whole different market.
Yeah, you're right. It's just, man, it was too late. And look what happened. The big old backlash happened because of the fight. People were pissed.
People were pissed, but I mean, with the fighters,
No, but look, okay. If you're spending $10,000 on a ticket for a boxing fight, you deserve to get.
If you're on a different financial level. $10,000 can mean like $20 to someone else.
Yeah.
So it depends on who your targeted audience is. Yeah. Obviously, it's not for, just regular people.
Were you there for the Pacquiao Mayweather fight in the arena?
I wasn't, mainly because I wasn't sure of how much drama may end up happening after the fight.
Yeah. Okay. Because I remember the atmosphere was terrible because there was no fight fans there because they priced the tickets so high that it was all these scene people that just want to be at a big event because it's a big event, and it was devoid of any atmosphere. And the real atmosphere was in the press room in the media center, because I remember I went to the arena very early on, and then I went back to the press room, and the press room was lit. The press room had a crazy atmosphere.
At the fight, was it like people sitting down watching a ballet or an opera?
They weren't. It was devoid of any atmosphere. For real, it was that.
I can't imagine that.
With Mayweather-McGregor, terrible atmosphere.
Wow.
Because they priced the tickets so much that it was these casual people that weren't super passionate fight fans that were watching the fight. All the Irish people were at the Irish bars. And even then, I read a story that the Irish fans couldn't afford the tickets to go to the Irish bars, so they didn't even watch the fight. But we all knew what was going to happen with that fight, so yeah, there was never an even fight. Back to you in Bellator. So... Things are in the works then for next year?
Yeah, so my boxing promoter, Alan Tremblay, actually spoke with Heather's boxing promoter in Lou DiBella. And then, we're trying to make something happen. Obviously, I can't say anything official because nothing official has happened yet. But, yeah, it's definitely in the works. So, for all of you guys who follow me or are interested in this, please, on social media, I need you to blast it out. Let these networks know.
What's your Instagram and your Twitter handle?
Sure. On social media, just log on my name. It's ANA. For Anna and Hulaton, Julaton. So Anna Hulaton. You just put that on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the whole bit, and go on to Bellator. Just be like, hey Bellator, let's go and see this fight. Let's make it happen.
Do you have a Snapchat? People are saying if you have a Snapchat. No Snapchat?
I do, but I don't use it.
Yeah.
I don't use it.
Snapchat's kind of dying.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Insta Snaps is kind of taking over Snapchat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you use Facebook at all anymore?
Sometimes.
Yeah, I don't really use Facebook anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah,
right?
it's kind of dying out
you have to pay to use it or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
I'm getting kind of over social media. But you guys should totally follow me on social media, all right? At Hey It's Marcos V on Twitter and Instagram. I need more followers so I could get some cool brand deals so I could have more of a budget for Fight Hub. All right?
100%. I love all those videos that you do, like with Triple G when he does all those special exercises that he does.
Oh, yeah. He does... some trippy exercises. Like I remember I saw him with a kettlebell to strengthen his grip, his forearms, and he gets a heavy kettlebell and he's just bam, and then he'll with the other hand he'll go back and forth, back and forth. He has Abel built some weird machine in the gym where like you're holding it and it's like muscle resistance, and like he makes him hold it for like a minute, but it's the equivalent of like doing a negative in like when you're lifting weights, like you're holding when you're doing a bench press, you're holding down.
Yeah.
He mentioned it's the equivalent of that. Like he's holding it, and let's go, and holding it. He told me what it does, but I forgot. So I don't know. I guess it's for muscle endurance. He does a lot of unorthodox training because he comes from the Soviet school of boxing and stuff, and I would imagine they had some crazy things in that Soviet system. You didn't say your Twitter name. Anna what?
Oh, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Anna Hulaton. Julaton.
Julaton.
Yeah.
At Anna Hulaton. Not Julaton.
Thank you.
Hulaton.
Oh,
the J's and H. Hulaton. Where does Anna train for MMA?
I've been going back and forth between Las Vegas and in the Bay Area, so we're definitely making sure we're doing our work.
All right.
Go to the office.
I'm gonna read some of your guys' questions and see if there's any people want to find you on MySpace. Nobody who uses MySpace. Come on, man. Really, MySpace?
Hey, man, that's the original of
yeah,
the
it
original.
is, right? No, you know what was the original? The original wasn't MySpace. It was Friendster. Remember Friendster?
I didn't use that.
You didn't use Friendster?
Dang.
Yeah, it was Friendster, then MySpace, and then Facebook. It's funny. My friend is friends with Tom from MySpace.
Whoa.
Yeah, remember Tom from MySpace?
Yeah.
And Tom's like this super sick photographer now. Like if you guys remember Tom from MySpace, the cheesy looking white dude that was friends with everybody, this guy is a sick photographer now, like freaking amazing photographer. Takes awesome photos. He sells MySpace for like I think 400 million or 500 million. And then he just goes on vacation permanently, and he's taking photos all over the world. So he's on Instagram. I think it's at MySpace Tom is his Instagram. And the photos that he takes is just amazing. But all he does is just travel the world and take photos.
That's cool.
Living the life, right?
Yeah.
I wish I would.
I'm sure that's the only portion that he'll show you of his life. I'm sure with a lot of money, there's a lot of problems.
I think he's married.
Okay.
I think he's married, yeah.
Okay.
Well, that Zuckerberg's married.
Okay.
Didn't he sell MySpace? I mean, Facebook. Wait, $1 billion? Did he sell it for $1 billion? Facebook? Zuckerberg sold Facebook. Yeah, he did. Yeah. All right. Did Zuckerberg sell Facebook, guys? Do you know? Let's see. Yeah. Wikity, what's up? I'm saying hi to you. Who's this Tenshin Nasukawa? Who's that, Daniel? I have no idea who that is. Do you know who that is? Stanley Stewart wants to know your thoughts on Cyborg.
I think she's a great athlete. She's a awesome person. I got to meet her at one of the line fights for Muay Thai, and she's so super cool. I think she's great for women's combat sports. She's a great representative. I mean, and she goes there. She works hard. She trains hard, and she's hustling. I mean, look what she's doing on her social media, creating her own. Her name branding is going up. I mean, she's doing a lot. So big shout out to her, and for her just stepping out of her boundaries, hooking up with Clarissa Shields, and going out there and getting some work done and trying to fight Holly Holm. I mean, these are some reputable names for combat sports in general, male or female.
You're picking Holly? Or you're picking Cyborg?
For the style matchup, I'm leaning a little bit more towards Holly though.
Holly Holm!
But
Anna's calling the upset, Holly Holm!
but again, anything can happen, because if like I said earlier, if Holly Holm has that little lull, she can get taken down like she did against Misha Tate.
She's been super inconsistent in her fights. She was beating Misha, man. She just got caught in a wrong position.
Hey man, 5 minutes is a long time, especially if you're doing a striker's pace.
Yeah, it is. I guess Zuckerberg didn't sell Facebook. He made it public, and he got a lot of money. So thanks, guys. Eagles thinks Holly gets smashed. It's at Anna Hulaton, Julaton on Twitter and Instagram. But give me a follow too, guys. Come on, I need a follow. Did you watch the HBO fights by chance or no? No, you're just so focused on the ESPN fights, huh?
Well, I mean, especially with this matchup, mainly because it just brought that kid out of me.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's never been done
So
before.
I was at the HBO fights, and everybody on press row was watching the Lomachenko Rigondeaux fight during the HBO card. But the HBO card, they had a lot of good fights. Orlando Salido retired. I don't know if he was just being very emotional in the moment, or if he is going to retire. He's had a lot of wars, but I think that must suck for Lomachenko. You know, I'm sure he wanted that win back against Orlando Salido.
Yeah, I'm sure that's probably not in his mind right now.
Yeah, you don't think so?
I'm sure he's probably thinking about the next thing, possibly making more money and having the matchups that'll get him excited.
Yeah.
I think that's the hard part for him. Because if he fights anyone lower than himself or Rigondeaux, I mean, can you imagine a lackluster?
Well, there's no guys that are on his level. I don't think.
Well, if he starts thinking that though, then you'll start to see him dwindle in his skill level. Because in order to be the best, you have to want to be the best. And so, what inspires you to be the best? You know.
Well, I asked him that question too. Actually, I asked him.
What did he say?
And he said that he wants little kids to mention him, to like say, you know what, I want to be like Lomachenko. He said that 15, 20 years from now, he wants little kids to say, I want to be like Vasily Lomachenko.
Wow.
He said that he wants to be a guy like how they mention Ali and Mayweather. Like he wants little kids to see his videos and be like, I want to fight like him. And he said that's what that's his goal in boxing.
Oh.
That's what drives him.
Well, I mean, if he wants to be like Ali, you have to do a little bit more than just box.
Well, Ali is a different category.
Yeah, you have to connect
He transcended the sport. Yeah.
Yeah, and
because
plus
of
his actions outside of the ring
because
too.
of his activism and stuff like that, But I think he was more mentioning like creating a legacy that it's like 50 years from now, we're still going to be talking about how good Lomachenko was,
Interesting.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
When he told me that, I thought like, oh wow, that's probably one of the most honest responses I've ever gotten from somebody in terms of like what's driving them. Because like, I don't know, sometimes I worry about him too, because it's like he blows over these opponents so easily. Like it's gonna get to a point where boxing might not interest him anymore, because it's like it's so easy that he's like, nah, like I don't know about this boxing thing, because it can get to that point. Yeah, but I think we're 52 minutes in. We might do some fan questions, and then we're gonna go ahead and get it out. But Tevin Farmer, I didn't think Tevin Farmer got robbed. I watched the fight. I felt he wasn't doing enough early on. He kind of played around and thought he had the fight in the bag, and that Ogawa put some work on him, man. And I'm glad Ogawa won, because Tevin Farmer will get another title shot, and Tevin Farmer will become a world champion. But if that Ogawa kid had lost the fight, I don't think he would have gotten a title shot ever again. Or it would have been an extremely difficult road for him to get a title shot, being that not only is he a Japanese fighter that fights in Japan and doesn't speak English, well, that's the main reason, is that no one knows who he is. So no one's going to give him a title shot again. So I'm happy that he won the title. I didn't think he got robbed, though. And a lot of people thought it was kind of like not an even fight, but they're like, I don't know, like that. So, Farmer, he played around. It was his fight to win. And I think he felt he was feeling so confident that he had the fight won already that he stopped putting in work. And I think it bit him in the ass in the fight. Valdez versus Lomachenko. They fought in the amateurs, actually, and Lomachenko beat him pretty handily in the amateurs, and I think that will happen in the pros. Lomachenko Garcia, what do you think? Mikey Garcia.
I think it'll be a great fight.
Yeah?
I think it'll bring the best out of both fighters.
Who wins?
Man, hard to say. I have to really sit down and look at the stats, because right now I'm getting emotional behind it, and sometimes I really don't want my emotions to.
No, don't bring the emotion out. What's your first initial? Without thinking, just you playing the fight in your head. Who wins?
Well, it's gonna be interesting, right? Because what I think for Lomachenko's style, what makes him so unique is, even if he's playing defense with you, he will be ready to attack. So he doesn't necessarily give you that mental break to reset. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where a lot of the fighters feel like they're in that quicksand. They're like, oh man, I lost this rally, I lost this momentum. Momentum is slowly starting to fade away. It's like, because he's capitalizing on every single move, because he's so athletic and he's so emotionally or mentally involved in the way. So I want to see if he's able to do something like that against someone like a Mikey Garcia, and if he's able to get away from Mikey Garcia's jab. I think he has a phenomenal jab.
Mikey? Yeah. Mikey's a heavy puncher, but you know what? Mikey's going to be very slow compared to Lomachenko. Yeah. I just thought about that. I don't know if Mikey will be able to land punches.
Well, if you're slow, but if you can handle the punches, what danger are you in, really?
But you got to be able to hit the guy, though.
Yes, that's true. But again, it all depends on how the fight's going to play out. It's going to be an interesting, compelling fight. I have to really, really sit down before I can say something more logical, because I think I'm a little bit more emotional behind that. Because right now I'm like, oh man, Lomachenko, he's so great, blah, blah, blah. But so is Mikey Garcia. You know, he's really good too. And there's a lot of different factors going up in weight class and the money and, you know, how
I don't think he would go up to 140. I think if they fight, it would be at 135.
I would say
right?
that.
I think it'd be 135.
Now, I don't know if Mikey Garcia was interested in fighting Lomachenko. That's a factor too. I mean, these fighters have to want to fight each other in order to have a really good fight. But in terms of like the style matchup, I think it fits well, it blends well.
Mikey doesn't take a lot of risks. He has very good defense. He's very composed and patient in there. He's gonna wait to pick shots off of Lomachenko. It's a good fight. It's a good fight. It's a great fight. It's a good fight. Mikey has a murderous punch. You seen this fist? His hand, Mikey's hands?
Oh no, I'm
Dude has fucking bear claws. He has a fucking huge hand.
It's probably from holding onto the reins of the horses at his ranch, man.
I was wondering, and I don't know, Angelo, if you know this, from boxing so much, do your hands change over time? Like, do they get bigger and callously?
Definitely gets calloused.
Yeah? Your hands happen to that?
Anna's hands.
All right, let's look at Anna's hands.
Mine look normal, you know?
Yeah? Well, hold on. Here are my hands, my girl hands, compared to Anna's
like my nails? No.
I always wonder that if the hands get bigger and stuff like that.
That you see on Instagram, Anna put up, she was, last week, she was wearing the NBA Finals championship ring.
Oh, I remember seeing that picture. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, so she put her hands up.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. Crawford then?
Crawford, or how about Gervonta Davis?
No, I was gonna say, is Crawford, should he be still considered number one pound for pound, or is it Lomachenko?
It's so hard. There's a lot of really good fighters, man. Yeah. I remember when
because look, Crawford is beating people and knocking them out.
Yeah.
But Lomachenko is beating people
and making them quit
and murdering them, like murdering their spirit, like Shang Tsung, like taking their soul, like Mortal Kombat style, like for reals, like your soul is mine, like taking it out, you know?
Yeah.
I think that says a lot, because like, okay, he's knocking them out, but this dude is like literally breaking their spirit, and like, you know, that's hard to do, like to break someone's spirit.
It's hard to do, because for fighters who ends up getting knocked out, they can always say at the end of the day, oh, it was a lucky shot.
Yeah.
It was a lucky shot, and they can go ahead and digest whatever emotion you need to digest and move on. Versus for something like that, I think that's something that haunts you. Mm-hmm. You know, kind of like what Floyd did to that.
Well, Walters hasn't been back. Nicholas Walters hasn't fought since that Lomachenko fight.
Yeah, it's a compelling, you know, style. It's in the way that he approaches boxing, how he's able to perform boxing and showcase it to everyone. So it's pretty. If you want, next time you see him and his dad, I would love for you to get some feedback from his dad, if that's possible.
On what?
I'm sure you just anything.
You know what amazes me about his dad is he had no boxing experience, and how someone with no boxing experience prior turned his son into what he is. Like it trips me out, like how he was able to do it, like, because usually, like Floyd, his dad was a fighter and there was that base knowledge. His uncle was a fighter. They had him in the gym very early on, and he had a head start because he had that built-in knowledge from his dad and his uncle, and he was nurtured the right way to be able to excel in boxing because of that. Now you look at Anatoly, his dad didn't have any boxing experience. It's a trip, like how, you know, because I read an article where like they're saying like, why are people so great in the fields that they're in, like in music or in sports, and usually they factored it back to the parents, where they said, well, they were so great because of the parents. They nurtured them in a certain way where the parents were either already in the field and they gave them already a competitive advantage over everybody else because of the knowledge they already had prior, instilling the kid very, very young, and then from that, just getting the reps in, getting the hours in, and that's why they excelled. you know, compared to someone like Lomachenko's dad who had zero experience, and they just kind of picked it up as they went because they put him into boxing. That's, to me, it just trips me out.
Well,
trips me out. Like Mozart's genius, but Mozart's dad was a very accomplished composer and teacher as well. And they're saying that, you know, Mozart's talent was God-given, but his dad allowed him to flourish because his dad was a teacher already in classical music.
Yeah.
And he was able to help his son get that out of him, you know? And just in the case of Lomachenko's dad, it just trips me out.
Yeah, that's brilliant knowledge. I love that.
Yeah, right.
And it goes behind that whole line I've learned in martial arts. There's more than one way to the mountaintop, as by Miyamoto Musashi. So for those of you who follow martial arts, Miyamoto Musashi is like this legendary samurai.
Yeah, they made a video game about him. I played
did they?
Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, he would say stuff like that. And
didn't he win like a crazy amount of samurai battles or something like that?
Yeah. It was something like 60 battles.
Yeah.
Survived them. So imagine back in the day, whenever you drew out your sword, you may die that moment. So
yeah, that's one strike, one kill. I think it's the same philosophy as a sniper, right? What is it? One cut, one something. They had like that, like one cut, one kill, or something like that.
Yeah,
like
it's something like that.
They're efficient with their movement, so they knew the stances, the samurai stances were. It was built out where the stance was for like it's all in. Like you slice, and it's either you're gonna kill or it opens you up for you to be killed too. You know, it's. I know that from playing the game Bushido Blade on PlayStation. You guys remember Bushido Blade on PlayStation?
Yeah.
That was a sick game. I love that game.
Hey, didn't Kalzagi's dad, wasn't he like that too?
Had zero boxing experience.
He's like a jazz
Was he a jam? Yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I know Angel Garcia, zero experience in boxing. Took his kid far too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
more than one way to the mountain.
Yeah.
Defy the odds.
There is. All right, guys, hour in, I feel like I could talk forever, but I got like hours and hours of traffic to deal with on the way back to California. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. All right, guys, make sure to follow Anna on social media at
Anna Hulaton, A-N-A-J-U-L-A.
with the J.
J-U-L-A-T-O-N.
All right, follow her. She's fighting in a Bellator cage next year at some point. Boxing fight too, or no more boxing?
Yeah, so I'll be able to disclose some of that as soon as I'm able to sign something.
Perfect.
So
you will come back to both, probably.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
right now to be a combat sport athlete, the opportunities are just high. It's just it's nothing like it was 5-10 years ago, 15 years ago.
I'm glad you ladies are getting a lot more attention now. And you're seeing it in boxing. The ladies are getting a lot more attention.
Me too, but there's still a lot more work to do, like getting more divisions.
Yeah, there is.
Or having other girls understand the business aspect of it too, whereas you can't be a lone wolf and be successful in the sport. You have to have the other dancing partner.
Yeah, and the promoters too, to market you the same way as the guys get marketed.
No, there's a whole bunch of different factors, but you gotta keep hustling, just like in anything.
That's very true. Well, Anna, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Go ahead and give me a follow as well at Hey It's Marcos V on the tweeters, the Twitterverse, and on the Instagrams. Hope you guys enjoyed this Sunday edition of our live chat with Anna Hulaton. Really appreciate it, guys. Thank you for tuning in and watching us as we're in Las Vegas right now. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Be nice to each other. Have a great Sunday afternoon. Walking Dead season finale. I can't wait. I'm a huge Walking Dead fan. They're saying some crazy shit is going to happen. I hope they don't kill a main character. I think they're going to kill off Michonne, which freaking sucks. She doesn't die in the comic, but the TV show is completely different. But you like Walking Dead?
I did until they ousted Glenn. As soon as they cut out Glenn, I was gone.
You were gone? Really? Yeah, that was a rough episode.
Because Daryl wasn't the same.
Daryl,
Yeah, all the other,
Daryl's still in it? They better not fucking kill Daryl in this season finale.
I think Carol's a badass, though.
Carol's cool.
Yeah.
Did you read the comic?
No, I didn't.
Comic is pretty gruesome. It's pretty bad, yeah. But all right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. See you guys later. Have a happy Sunday. Bye.